What's up guys, my name is Guillaume, this is Thomann's Guitars and Basses, and today we hit the tone on the song Black by Pearl Jam. Hello everybody, I hope you're all doing fantastic today. In this series, I'm trying to show you how to get the playing and the sounding right on your favorite songs. So do let me know in the comment section which song you'd like me to cover next and I'll get to you as soon as I can. But today, we're focusing on one of my favorite songs, which is Black by Pearl Jam, starting with the guitar setup. And we'll be focusing on Stone Gossard's guitar part for the day because he's the one playing the intro. I believe he's the one who recorded it. And that's one of these songs where it's fairly obvious because Stone is a Les Paul kind of guy, while McCready is a Strat player for the most part. Obviously, they've played both. But in that song, it's very clear that Stone is the one setting up the rhythm, playing throughout the intro and then continuing the same progression, while Mike is doing all of those Stratty, sort of Hendrixian licks in the background. So, my guitar for the day will be a Gibson Les Paul. This is our studio guitar. I will be playing in the bridge position with both the volume and the tone all the way up because the magic happens in our amp and pedal setup. Stone Gossard is a very prominent user of Marshall amps, mostly JCM 800, 900s, Plexis, mostly Marshalls. And what we find in that intro is a very clean kind of sound. So it could be achieved with a JCM 800. I just so happen to have the Plexi, the mini Plexi, the Mark II Studio here, and I think for that kind of clean sound, it's going to work perfectly. If you want to also follow up on the gainier part of his playing, I definitely recommend going more for the JCM 800 sort of vibe. I'll put this one and a bunch of recommendations in a link in the description box down below. But the really cool thing about that intro is that it's lo-fi. And I thought it'd be a cool thing to focus on that and just that part of the intro to show you guys how to get that kind of sound out of a sort of regular guitar setup. And I'm doing so by using the Boss GE7 equalizer pedal. Now, the idea about that lo-fi is low fidelity sound is just to remove as much low end and high end as you possibly can, and just keeping that very specific slice of mid-range that's going to make your guitar sound like it's being captured through like a phone, like an old phone or radio kind of a thing. So I'm using that pedal today, but just for comparison, I'm going to play the amp without the pedal and then turn it on so you can see the difference, you can hear the difference. So the idea is basically to take a perfectly good clean sound and to take out everything from it. And on top of just cutting out the EQ and just leaving, so 800, 1.6 fairly boosted and 3.2 kHz roughly where it was originally, I'm also cutting down the volume quite a bit. And that's only because the amp is going to go into breaking up with the humbuckers and everything. So I'm just downing the input level to make sure that the amp stays clean on the other side, regardless of how hard I'm going to pick. Another really important point of Pearl Jam's first album is the reverb. Whether it's on the drums, on the guitars, on the vocals, the reverb on that album is the most magical thing. So you cannot possibly forget about this. And I'm using the Keeley Caverns in the effects loop of the amplifier with a spring, I guess, reverb, a very warm spring reverb. It's not really reminiscent of like an actual spring tank. It's definitely Keeley's take on that kind of reverb, but a really long decay, still fairly low in the mix so that it doesn't come in the way of your attack, but don't forget the reverb. You need the reverb for Pearl Jam. So now that we have our tone, let's go on to the final part of the video, which is definitely the most important, and is how to play the riff. And as usual, a few notes before we get into the lesson. For that song, you want to be tuned in E standard, so just regular standard tuning, don't touch your guitar. This is it. And although the tabs will be displayed on the screen during the lesson, they'll also be linked in the description box down below, so go check them out if you want to spend some more time reading them and learning them. But with that said, let's have a look at how to play the riff exactly. It's super simple. That's about as much as I can say about it. It's an E chord and an A sus2 chord. And that's it. You have some things here and there, some, alterations, and you're going to take up your finger here to go and transition into the other chord. But really, that's it. And the whole song is based around that up until like the pre-chorus and chorus. The best part about it is to go about the interaction in between Stone and Mike and the way that he lays out sort of that rhythm throughout the whole verse. And at the same time, you've got Mike doing that, kind of Hendrixian, same chords, exact same thing, but just, a lot of hammer-on pull-offs and the fretting with the thumb, very Jimmy-like. So I wanted to focus on that part today, but I think Mike's part on that same song is definitely worth its own lesson. So we might get there eventually. But with that said, I think that's it, guys. You have all the tools you need to hit the tone on the intro of Black by Pearl Jam. As usual, I hope that this video was useful. If so, please consider liking it and subscribing to the channel so that you don't miss out on future episodes. Don't forget to let me know in the comments which song you'd like me to cover, and I'll get to them as soon as I can. In the meantime, I wish you all a fantastic week, and I'll see you next Monday in a new episode of Hit the Tone.